Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended, not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. Hey everybody, it's Lynn here from A Bit of Birdsong, playing in my journal this morning. This is the one that I'm using with an ephemera pack. One of the things I like to do is record when I see inspirational quotes or memes. You see a lot of that kind of stuff on Facebook. I like to put those in my journal if I can. So I've turned to an empty page where we can just make an art spread. Let's do some art journaling this morning, and it doesn't have to take long. I think the first thing I want to do is I'll go ahead and tear this. This is a large sheet of paper I've been using to protect areas around something I was working on, but now I'm going to just go ahead and tear it in half so that we can work on this spread and not get ink all over the place. This is a mixture of coffee, instant coffee and water, and I've added some, this is Stampin' Up! Re-Inker, and it is in calendula, which is kind of a yellowy color, and I love the effect of all of this together. Now you have to be careful spraying things. There are some things you do not want to spray. I noticed with like alcohol ink and some of the things you can get to work with that, like different fixatives, and there's some things you just do not want to spray and breathe. And even things like this, I try to limit how much I'm breathing in. Sometimes I even have like a cloth mask, or you know, I'll pull my shirt up over my face just not to get a lot of that you can smell the coffee in the air and that kind of thing. You want to protect your lungs always. So I'm going to dry this a little bit. I love how we can see the flowers on this side bleeding through. Okay, I dried it quite a bit. It's not completely dry, but I am loving this stencil. What does this say? I think it's Americana Decor. I bought this used, but I love this design. So I want to have birds here and here. So why don't I take this piece of paper and sort of cover up this part, and let's see if we can lay this flat enough to get some color. You know, stencils like this, it's kind of funny. You can end up with a really sloppy outcome and get a lot of ink there, and then things run under the stencil. I try to keep some tissue close by to get the excess up. Okay, look, that's faint, but I do like it, and I love that we had some grunge that just came off of the stencil from the last time I used it. Now let's maybe we will wipe some of this off so we don't get the outline of a bird again. Well, we wouldn't, because it's going to be up here. And now let's do this one, if we can. Try to hold it down a little bit. Oh, so that one is not as outlined. I think I got too much ink underneath, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm using this, my formula for great journal pages, which is the ground floor, repeating pattern, ephemera, original art, and then texture. The pages are pretty dry. I did go ahead and take the time to dry those, and I don't mind doing something like that if I'm not in a hurry. I'm just sitting out here enjoying my workshop, so I don't mind taking the time to dry something. It gives me time to think too. This is like my wake up time in the morning. Okay, let me tell you what I'm thinking. And let me get some sort of pencil out. I love that we have this outline here. This is still a little damp. I think that bleeding through from the other side is going to fade as that completely dries. I dried this a little bit more because we can kind of see an outline, but I want to make it pop just a little bit more. And I'm wondering, let's see, is that going to be dark enough? I'm going to just take a pencil, not anything like too glaring. And I'm going to just go around and outline the bird on the inside of the stencil so that we can really know the shape. I'm not pressing too hard because I think this paper is not 100% dry. It's close. And we could always come back and add some more of this, defining this, the pencil marks and everything. Here we go. Add a little bit of an eye. So that's kind of going to, that is going to sort of be in the background. I'm not too worried about it being perfect. We're going to be adding more things. Let's go ahead and put this flower on here too. So there is that. And then I think for a repeating pattern, where is it? We've got this stamp with all of these lines. It kind of reminds me of the fabric I bought recently. I guess maybe this is calling to me right now for whatever reason. And what color do we want to have? And I do have a quote that I want to write. So, well, I could always write it on separate paper. I was thinking I need to have space to write that quote, but it's going to be okay. Even if I take up a lot of space and don't have room to write the quote, you could write it on a piece of paper and attach it later. I'm trying to figure out what color I want this to be. Maybe we'll just go with black. And we've got, that's gonna dry and show up some, so is that getting, yeah, oh good. So this is the R part. This is gonna be repeating pattern. It's faint, but I really like it a lot. A little bit right there. Oh, it perfect line for them to be sitting on. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I don't want to overdo it. I really like that effect. Clean the stamp off a little bit before I put it in the drawer. That's how this paper ends up so cool, honestly. Using it to clean things up and to wipe extra paint and things like that. We're done with the stencil, so I'm going to put that away. So now for ephemera, let's go through some of the things that we have. Let's see what we can find. Oh, there's the girl who's kind of leaning over crying. I mean, I know this is right on top. And it's like I'm not even giving it much thought, but this could be perfect. It's right at the edge. Oh, me, I wonder how it would be if I tear the edges. I don't like that completely rounded top. But I don't want to tear into her actual hair or any of her. I do like that. ephemera. So this is the E part. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the page because I like it so much, especially with the quote. The quote's kind of long, so I'm going to be just writing that out with a pen or whatever, so that it's there someday when I go back to enjoy this journal. Of course, enjoy the journey means to enjoy it right now, which I'm doing. I will have a video up after this one showing the journal that I just mailed out for the collaboration. And we're almost at the end of that. I can't believe it. The 6-pack collab that I've been working on with 5 other people. So we're on step 5, and step 6 is the very last, which I just can't believe once again that we've been working on it for 5 months. Okay, is there any more ephemera that I want? I don't know that I want words because that might just clash with what I'm going to write. I don't want that to conflict. So this might be all of those old garden pages. Might be all the ephemera we're going to have, unless I'm wondering if we have just a piece of graph paper. Right in the center, because we're going to come back and add texture to tie things together. I don't want this to look like just a blob in the center of the page, but I do sort of want like more interest on the page. And this is something it's not words. It's not going to compete with the what I'm going to write. So let's get glue all over this. And we will just put that. And I know their strings are there. We're just going to leave those right where they are. Going to put that there. And now, let me find the quote. I just went ahead and turned the camera off so I could look at this quote. That's going to be considered the art layer. We have the ground floor, the repeating pattern, and then art is where you add something that you've done yourself. And I wanted it to be these words. So now we need some texture. And I did something yesterday, I think it was, and I really love the way it turned out. You'll be seeing it later, but let me see if I can find that stencil. I used acrylic paint and a stencil, and what did I do with that? There it is. I need to clean out my stencils. That's one of those things I absolutely love using, but they're not always so easy to store. They can take up a lot of space. Some of them are rigid, some are flimsy, some tear easily. So I think you know what I'm talking about. Let's pick a color of paint. And I think I'm probably going to go with something sort of blue. You can see I used some green the last time. And it's kind of fun too to have the colors bleed off a little bit, like if you don't clean things like this. And honestly, it's very hard to really do a good job cleaning something like this. Now, I don't want to get into the words, but I really loved having a pattern where these circles sort of move down the page. And I know I want some sort of blue, but not too much blue. And then you can come back and add different colors. I did that some yesterday, which again, you're going to see it soon in the next video that I've recorded. I've just got to get it edited and get it uploaded. And maybe we will have a couple of different colors. Is that, this paint just gets stringy sometimes. So with stencils, don't want to get up under the circle, and I'm not worried about perfection. I think everybody already knows that about me. There are little triangles between the circles. I don't necessarily want to get those. I don't think it would be horrible if I did that, but, and this is not the perfect brush for stenciling. It's flat though from sitting in the water. So I do like the way it runs across the top of things. It doesn't get too messy. I just try to control, you know, where I do the brushing. Maybe kind of trail off with that one and do part of one here. So you don't have to do the whole circle. And now maybe this here and this. That one's not going to get into the letters, and neither is that or that or that. I like that. And then we can come back. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So maybe let's just do some partial circles across the bottom, and even maybe on the edge right down here. I do like that. I wonder if it's going to be too much now to have them up here. I think I'm going to stop with that. And you know what we're going to do with this stencil? We're just going to lay it down and press it onto the paper so that any paint on there comes off on the paper on my art desk, because we'll definitely use that down the road. So pretty. Let's see more on there. Put this away because I'm done with that. And I've got a little thought about adding a feather stencil, but it's too big, I think. I don't have room to really put it on here without interfering with something else. So the last thing I want to do, and let me get just some scrap paper, because I do not want to ruin the words, and I don't want to mess her up. And now maybe some white. I'll put it right here on the blue and add a little bit of water and get this little brush especially made for this kind of thing. Hang on, let me pull my paper back out, because I really don't want these little dots all over the place. think we could use even a little more. I wonder if I could do, let's try. Oh, I like that. I like that it just did the strings around, like some little strings of paint. Do some really delicate ones down here. Okay, so wash this brush off, dry it. This page, I feel like this page is really subtle. I like it a lot, but I wanted that quote. I love that quote so much. A friend of mine shared that on Facebook. Now let me put my name somewhere. And the date. And I think that's going to be it for today. Didn't take very long. I've spent maybe 30 minutes playing in this art journal, and it's very therapeutic to do this. Okay, I will be back soon with a video of the collaboration journal. Bye for now.